From Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas, welcome to Baseball Night in America. It is the Texas Rangers hosting the red-hot Pittsburgh Pirates. They've won 5 in a row. The Rangers playing good baseball as well. They've won 5 of 7, and today, Darvish makes his 2016 debut, coming back from Tommy John surgery for his first outing since 2014. We say welcome inside with Cliff Floyd. I'm Joe Davis. It's an exciting day here, and it's already been a rotation for Texas. It has been the best in the American League. They now add Darvish into the equation, and we know what Darvish was before Tommy John. He was an all-star all 3 years that he was here. I know we're both looking forward to seeing what Darvish post Tommy John looks like now.
100%. He has a full arsenal of pitching. I think the one thing you're talking about is a big arm. The fact that he is on the pitch count today, Joe, and I think that's huge when you look at him just going out there and establishing the strike zone and being himself. He is a big strikeout guy, but for me, it's about him going out there and just giving his team a quality start.
Yeah, you mentioned the pitch count. They're saying about 85 to 90 for him, and he'll do it against a really good Pittsburgh lineup. Gregory Polanco in right field has been emerging as one of the game's bright young stars.
Yeah, he is. And you talk about a trio, outfielders that the Pirates have. He's a big part of what they're doing in the right direction. And, yeah, he's coming to his own. I think the adjustments at the plate in terms of just his batting stance and being aggressive in the strike zone has helped him be who he is today.
That's a pretty good company there. Only Bryce Harper among right fielders has a higher OPS than Polanco this season. He and the Pirates, the first that'll see Darvish in 2016. We've got first pitch on Baseball Night in America from Texas on the other side of this break. "14 months removed from Tommy John surgery. First major league start since August of 2014. A 3-time All-Star, all 3 seasons in the majors. Debuted in 2012, was number 3 in Rookie of the Year voting. Led the majors in strikeouts the year after and was runner-up for Cy Young to Max Scherzer. And then in 2014, shut down in early August with the elbow issues. Spring training last year, started to feel some soreness after his first start. The MRI showed the torn UCL. Tommy John surgery March 17th, but he's gotten himself ready to go here for his first start since.
Yeah, you talk about, Joe, the fact that he hasn't been on the mound since 14. But for me, rehab starts that he's been on, he's touched 98, 99. And I think that's big for him. I don't think he'll sit there, but just getting out there and getting his feet up on them is going to be crucial for him today.
And he'll face off with the Pirates lineup penned out by Clint Hurdle. This group's been really good. Number 4 in the majors, averaging more than 5 runs per contest. He's in his 6th season as the manager. Took over in 2011. And here is that starting 9. John Jaso in his first season as a Pirate. The top of the order has been a really nice addition for them. Then it's McCutchen and Polanco, Freese, Marte, and Cervelli in the middle third of the order. Matt Joyce makes a start today. It's only his 10th this season. Those really impressive numbers mostly off of the bench. Mercer and Cole Figueroa, who makes his first start of the season. Jaso set to lead things off. And in this Pirates lineup, nobody's had better success against Darvish than Jaso. Above 400 in his career with a pair of home runs. Of course, Jaso previously in the American League against Darvish, Tampa Bay, and in Oakland. 658 days since Darvish's last time in a big league mound. The 29-year-old out of Japan gets going with ball 1. 87 pitches over 6 shutout innings in his 5th and final rehab on Sunday. You mentioned it, the velocity's been impressive. The upper 90s he's touched. Jaso slices a base hit to the opposite field to start the evening. With an aggressive turn, holds on a leadoff single. The defense around you, Darvish, has turned more double plays than any other in baseball this season, with Andrews at short. Profar starting at second. Ruben Odor is serving his suspension for the punch of Jose Bautista. Just started serving it last night. 6'5", 220 pounds, even put on some size over the last year plus. While he was rehabbing from the elbow surgery. And now Andrew McCutchen. Strike 1.
I think that's the key. If I'm Jeff Branson, the hitting coach for the Pirates, I'm saying attack. That's going to be one of my keys. But just attack early, and I think, you have to think that way. If you're going to face a guy like you, Darvish, because he's trying to establish himself. He is trying to get himself going early.
Is 0-1, and McCutchen takes strike 2. This rotation for the Rangers, #1 in the American League. One of the best seasons for a Texas rotation in decades. Jaso with the leadoff single, held by Morland. And an 0-2 to McCutchen. Ball 1.
You talk about that pitching with the Rangers. You have to have defense as well. You talk about the double plays and the pitching, the ERA. To me, that's why they're sitting where they are, because they have not had their full team out there consistently from day one.
That's kind of been the story the last few years for the Rangers.
Yeah.
Dealing with several injuries. It's not just been Darvish. 2-2 on McCutchen. Normally his battery mate Robinson Chirinos, but Chirinos has been out almost the entire season with a forearm fracture. Shin-Soo Choo out at first with a calf injury. Came back for 2 at-bats last Saturday and pulled his hamstring, right back on the disabled list. But they're starting to get into the part of the season where they expect to get those guys back. And the first big addition off of the DL happening tonight with Darvish, who delivers 2-2 and gets his first strikeout.
We talk about the fastball early in the count. This is his equalizer. You see Kutch's knees buckle on that curveball, Joe. That's unhittable. He could have told him it was coming. He wasn't hitting that pitch.
He didn't look real comfy.
No.
Darvish, the fastest player in Major League history to reach 500 Ks. He did it in a little more than 400 innings. Up comes Gregory Polanco. Hit another home run last night. Part of a 4-home run effort for the Pirates in a 9-1 win.
Now, I talked about in the open just his adjustments. You have to be able to be a young guy that's willing to listen and make adjustments on the fly. That's what this game is about, making adjustments on the fly. And whether it be hand positioning or shortening your swing, it has to be something that's going to allow you to be an all-around player. And that's where he's headed right now.
His manager thinks he sees a little Cliff Floyd in him.
Well, Cliff Floyd made some adjustments too, because I had a big leg kick when I came into the league, and they sort of nixed that a little bit. But for me, Gregory Polanco is more of a, you know, he has speed, he has defense. I didn't have defense like he has defense. He has a hose out there in right field, and now he's, of course, he's stealing bags and doing some of those things. But the power, talking about 7 home runs right now, his career high is 9.
They've locked him up long term. In April, signed a contract that has him guaranteed through 2021. Club options for the following 2 seasons, which has been somewhat of a theme. Clint Hurdle.
Yeah.
Not sure what he's animated about right now. Jaso first with 1 gone. Darvish with a 1-2. Just misses downstairs, says Danny DeMuth. And the count evens at 2-2.
See what the crowd is oohing about. Yeah, I would ooh too a little bit. That was close. I don't get on Dana already. It's early.
There's Jeff Bannister, Darvish's manager. Hit hard to short, caught by Andrews. The throw to first sails into the dugout. Jaso will get second, or make that third with the 2 bases.
Nice swing by Polanco. You see Andrews almost, he didn't get set. Well, he had to make the throw real quick, but he didn't get himself set. He just airmailed it.
And he got 2 bases from where the play started. With Jaso at first, that ball sailing into the dugout. Pirates now with a man at third. And 2 gone for David Freese.
I never understood that rule.
Yeah.
It just don't make, yeah, just don't make, I mean, you're not going to third base with the ball going if it hits the dugout screen in front.
Knocked down by Bobby Wilson. Yeah, ball 1 on Freese. You might have heard a few boos filtering in when Freese was introduced. Of course, they still remember him as the guy that broke their hearts in the 2011 World Series while he was a Cardinal, with a game-tying triple in Game 6, the game-winning home run a couple of innings later. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That was amazing. Actually watching that unfold and him being the guy. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would boo too if I was a Ranger fan.
Here's a 1-1, and Freese takes it outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. You know, since then he's gone to the Angels. Spent a couple of seasons there. And signed during spring training with the Pirates this year. Really is insurance for Jung Ho Kang, who was still working back from that bad knee injury near the end of last season. Bouncing ball to third. Beltre's got it. Darvish's first inning back from Tommy John is a scoreless one. Rangers pick up the bats for the first time after this. First time in a scoreless game, bottom of the first inning back in Arlington. There's Jeff Bannister, and there's his lineup. Jurickson Profar in his second game since his call-up hits leadoff again. And it's Desmond and the struggling Prince Fielder. Worst numbers of his career, trying to break out, still hitting third. Beltre, Mazzara, Morland in the middle third of the order. Then it's Andrews, Hoyne, and Wilson down to the bottom third of Texas's lineup. They face off with Juan Nicasio, 29 years old, out of the Dominican, making his 9th start tonight.
Yeah, well, short of saying reinventing himself, I think getting a chance to start again has definitely helped him out. You know, big fastball. I think the one thing he has to work on is getting ahead in the count. Righties definitely, you know, have troubles with him. Lefties on the flip have not, and I've hit him out the ballpark a little bit at 5 homers in a .319 clip.
And there are 5 hitters that will come up left-handed against him. First one is Profar. And Nicasio's first pitch of the night taken for strike 1. You might remember Jurickson Profar's name as the top prospect in baseball for a while. He made his debut a few years ago, but has missed the last 2 seasons with shoulder injuries. Waits on an 0-1. And takes a generous outside corner strike, 0-2.
Well, it's good to see him get off to a good start down in the minors, which got him this extra call up. And you have to play. I think that's the big thing with me is, you know, you have to play and sort of find yourself and go out there and go through the grind of getting beat up a little bit and get your legs right and get your body going.
Hits one the other way. Nice stop on a backhand by Freese, but he has no play. And Profar has an infield single. So they're playing him to pull the ball, and what would have been a routine ground ball against a routine defense wasn't.
Just good hitting. Hitting it where it's pitched and putting some bat on it and making Freese make a decision right off the bat. See him getting down the line. He can smell that hit, Joe.
His first hit since his return, which was last night, a 1-for-5 performance, a huge chop over the first baseman and down the right field line.
Saw a big smile on this place last night.
That was his first hit since September of 2013 last night. First hit since he hit a walk-off home run for the Rangers. And at that point, had to be thinking, man, life is good. I've got it made. Top prospect in baseball. But it's been a long, winding journey to get back here. Speaking of winding journeys, Ian Desmond. Who takes a ball. Of course, famously turned down that huge contract offer from the Nationals a couple of years ago. Then turned down the qualifying offer from the Nationals. Tested free agency. Rangers wound up signing him, and after a slow start was given a few days off. Since then has been one of the top hitters in the American League.
Yeah, go figure. But this game is like that. I think when you look at, you know, and getting a chance to talk to him in spring training, the one thing he talked about was betting on himself. And I like that. For me, it's more of trusting that you're going to be better than what you were last year, whether it's the pressure of trying to get the contract or whatever case may be. He didn't do well in Washington, and, you know, he had to find himself a home. I think the Texas Rangers are definitely happy he signed here.
He signed here to play the outfield. First time that he'd done that. Career shortstop. Goes up the ladder to hammer that one to right over Polanco's head and off the wall. Profar holds it third on a double from Desmond, and the Rangers in business in the first.
That ball was absolutely destroyed. It's just a fastball up and away. You see him just getting through it and driving it. Old Polanco's head right, turns him around actually. See Polanco sort of freezes in his steps. Didn't know which way to turn when the ball was hit so hard, but got a good bounce off the wall.
And so second and third, nobody out for the Rangers. And here's Prince Fielder. As good as Desmond has been, Fielder's been that bad. Worst numbers of his career, 194. He's not homered in more than a month. That's the longest drought of his career. And this is 1 year after he was named the American League Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, great numbers last year. 20+ homers, 98 ribbies, 300 average.
Quickly behind Nicasio, 0-2.
And I always say, when you're struggling and you get up to that dish from the on-deck circle to that box, Joe, for me, that first pitch has to be hacked at. You know, you can't take a fastball down the middle when you're struggling. You're giving this pitcher, you know, an advantage, and also you putting yourself in the hole if it's right there.
Nicasio could use a strikeout, and on 0-2, this is down and in. Well, the Comeback Player of the Year award for Fielder last year came as a result of a shortened 2014 season where he had that neck surgery and was slowed down by that neck injury before the surgery. Some folks wondered if he would ever be the same again. Then last year he proved that he could. You're the same guy that was an all-star so many years in Milwaukee and Detroit, but struggling out of the gates here in 2016. Two and two.
He's such a quiet hitter. The one thing you look at in that situation right there is he's sort of trying to tell himself to stay back, and that's the hardest thing for a hitter. You want to attack the baseball. He's a violent swinger, so when he's swinging at the baseball, it is violent. He has to get behind it, but when he's flinching at those balls up, he's letting you know that he's a little unsure right now.
Waits on this 2-2 from Nicasio and hits it off of the handle. Ricochets off the mound is short. Mercer will throw him out, but Profar will score from third, and the Rangers lead 1-0. So Fielder gets an RBI, his 25th of the season. Here's the Pirates defense with a top outfield in baseball, many would argue. Marte, McCutchen, and Polanco. Cole Figueroa makes his first start of the season, a utility infielder, giving a day of rest to Josh Harrison at second, and Jung Ho Kang. Back-to-back games as the DH means David Freese makes back-to-back starts at the hot corner. Up comes Adrian Beltre, who's excelled in these runners in scoring position situations this year. Looks at strike one. 19th big league season for him, and he'll play at least through his 21st big league season after signing that 2-year extension this season. One ball, one strike.
You're talking about a guy in Adrian Beltre who, in my opinion, is a Hall of Famer when he's done with this game. But, you know, 1,499 RBIs, you know, looking for 1,500 with the guy on third. It's just going out every day and knowing situations, knowing that he has to hit a ball in the air right with the infield in and things like that has allowed him to be the star he's been for so long.
You mentioned the 1,500 RBIs. He would join some pretty darn good company among third basemen. Jones, Brett, and Schmidt, the only guys ever to knock in 1,500 as a third baseman.
Yeah, well, I played against the one from Atlanta and Chipper, and I mean, that's some good company right there. You know, and you have to play, you have to be good, and you have to be consistent. That's very hard to do at this level.
Here comes the 1-2 from Juan Nicasio. Beltre fouls it off.
I think that's what gets lost so much is, you know, when you talk about being consistent, everybody thinks, well, he has to be more consistent. It's very hard to go out there and consistently go over to the hot corner and get beat up. And he's played through some tough injuries, and just getting back on the field towards the latter of his career has probably been tougher than, of course, early on. But, you know, that's why you give him an extension, because you know he's coming to the post for you every night.
There's a runner at third with one gone. And waits on this 1-2 from Nicasio. Takes it low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. He dealt with that nagging thumb injury last year, and instead of having surgery mid-season, which is what some of the doctors recommended, he altered his grip to be able to hold the bat in a way that didn't bother his thumb. Still was not as effective as he normally would be, but was able to play through the pain and postpone that surgery until after the postseason. In and out of the mid of Cervelli, he stays alive. But our keys to the game now, sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company.
You talk about Darvish, for me, is attacking you know, and pitching the contact. He is on the pitch count, 80 to 85 pitches today. Is he going to pitch the contact, hit his spots? And I think on the flip for that is the Pirates hitters attacking Darvish early in the count. You know, 1-0, their team that hits 335 and 15 of the 57 homers come on the first pitch. So I think that should be the Pirates' MO today.
Comes a 2-2 to Beltre and fouls off another.
It's great at bat.
.37 years old, former Dodger, former Mariner, former Red Sox for a year. Now in his 6th season with the Rangers. Signed as a free agent before the 2011 season. And signed through 2018 in Texas. And he runs the count full.
He is one of the funniest dudes to watch play.
Yeah.
I mean, him running around the bases in Houston last week, just all the things he does on the field, it lets you know he's having fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the key to, you know, to all our youngsters out there. You got to have fun and still go out there and do your job. Yeah, it's tough, but, you know, the fun part you can have anytime.
Plays it with great joy.
Yes. Always smiling, always having a good time.
Desmond at third with one gone. Nicasio readies for the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Beltre hits a high fly ball to deep center field. McCutchen back on it, turns, it's gone. On the 9th pitch of the AB, Beltre hits his 9th homer of the season.
That's why you battle in those situations. Wow. Talk about the 9th pitch, Joe. Middle, he absolutely destroys it. Knowing he had to hit the ball to the outfield, Clutch gives it the courtesy run, but I guess it barely went over, but it's just enough. That's all I care about.
And so he gets his 1500th career RBI and number 1501. Nomar Mazar looks at a strike and becomes only the 4th third baseman all time with 1500 runs batted in. So you go from the 37-year-old who's been all over the place in his baseball career to Nomar Mazara, who is the youngest player in the majors at just 21. For a few short hours last night, he was the 2nd youngest, while Julio Urias made his debut for the Dodgers. But Urias already back to AAA.
That was short and quick.
2-1 on Mazara. And how about the debut this guy's had, Cliff? Hitting .325. That puts him 6th in the American League. He's been the best hitter for the Rangers since his call-up in the first week.
Well, when you talk about the first week, the first day getting there, probably getting to the clubhouse and not knowing if he was starting or not, had a terrific first day and hasn't stopped. And I think talking to Jeff Bannister today, just about his mindset and being able to do some of the things, you know, other than just play, and whether that be, you know, how he prepares himself for a game, situations that happen in the locker room or on the bench. Is he paying attention, you know, all throughout? And I think the answer is yes, just talking to Jeff and how much he really likes his work ethic.
Takes outside, goes ahead in the count, 3-1. Jeff Bannister told us about an at-bat during spring training last year where he had fallen down in the count 0-2, calmly battled back and wound up lining a base hit right by the pitcher's ear. That's when he jumped onto Jeff Bannister's radar as more than just a prospect, somebody that could help this club before long.
Just playing every day, just figuring it out. You know, he's going to run into where they're paying attention to him more consistently, and then he has to make the adjustments when that happens. And that swing right there, in my opinion, is exactly what you want. You see the shift put on him, and you see him a ball that's, you know, middle away, and he's trying to go down the third base line.
They call him the Big Chill.
Big Chill. Already got a nickname.
All because of what you're talking about, as relaxed and as calm as he is. Had that 0 for 6 game a few weeks ago, and Jeff Bannister gave him the following day off, and he said things didn't change a bit in his attitude.
And that was a test, just to see how he handled it.
On 3-2, chops it foul.
This is the type of inning when you talk about Juan Nicasio out there. This is pitch number 29. This is what you Darvish can't have today.
Yeah. And really, for different reasons, Nicasio can't afford to have that pitch count too high. This is a guy that's gone back and forth between starting and the bullpen in his career. Began his career almost exclusively as a starter in Colorado for the first 3.5 years of his career, but last year exclusively out of the bullpen with the Dodgers. It's not easy to be able to work back into a full-time starter role.
It's really not. And I think the one thing that they saw in spring training is he didn't give up a run, so you had to put him out there and give him a shot at the title. And I think, you know, when you talk about this organization, the Pirates, they go within, or they find guys who are thirsty and hungry, and then they get Ray Search to fix them. And that's what they pretty much do.
Mazzara fights one off into left center field. Marte runs under it and makes the play, battling the sun. Now, what was an 11-pitch AB? 2 out.
Nice swing by Mazzara, and you look at the Gold Glover out there in left field, always taking chances. He plays to win the game. And you see that type of play. You see him battling the sun, as you mentioned, Joe. That's a tough play. I played out there in left field. A lot of left fielders probably would have played that for a single. Starling Marte is catching that ball. If he has a shot at it, he going for it.
Won his first Gold Glove last year. Oh, that is bright.
Oh yeah, that's tough, and there's nothing more uncomfortable than having that sun in your face and you're trying to make a catch. We saw it early in the game today with Detroit. Cameron Maybin out there in Oakland.
Going to be a lonely feeling, huh? Here's Mitch Morland taking a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's been a lonely feeling for him lately. 1 for his last 26. Well, many pieces of this offense have clicked. He is not. In his 7th season in a Ranger uniform. And his best season last year. Going through a monster slump right now.
When you watch guys like Mitch, of course you have success and all of a sudden you struggle. You know, these pitchers are paying attention. They're trying to figure out what holes, and if you're going to swing at that high fastball, you better be able to make contact or they'll stay there and live there.
And Nicasio strikes him out to finish the inning. It was a hard one for him. 36 pitches for Nicasio, and the Rangers get Yu Darvish 3 early runs. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Back in Arlington, this place's days reportedly are numbered as they get set to build an indoor ballpark, a retractable roof ballpark here in Arlington. Set to be ready 2021.
They need to hurry up. It's hot.
And it's not even a hot day, relatively speaking, here as Darvish delivers strike one to Starling Marte.
I mean, we got the fans going in here, so we're going to be all right. But
a 324 average for Marte, a career high for him. 3 for 4 in the series opener last night. That included a home run.
I talked about him earlier with Clint, just about possibly at some point in the near future being MVP. And I just like his tools. I like everything about him in the outfield. I like, his approach is getting better at the plate, stealing bags. He's going, will he be 30-30? Big question, but if he's 19 and 30 last year.
Behind a fastball to 95, Darvish has his second strikeout of the game. Grip the Moment, sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. His first inning, a bit adventurous, gave up a leadoff single to John Jaso. Then got McCutchen swinging. Polanco lined into one before he got David Freese to ground into a 5-3 putout, finishing the frame.
You see all those pitches right there. You showcase the curveball, the sinker, the fastball, and just the fact that he's back out there on the bump in itself. I mean, that is a plus for that Rangers team.
Cervelli goes after the first pitch. It's a fly ball to right center. Desmond runs under it and makes the play for the second out. Much less adventurous than last night, and a ball hit out there to right center. Desmond and Mazara collided.
Yeah, but you see him yelling, "I got it" right there last night. I don't think he was yelling that as loud as Mazara needed to hear it, because they did collide. But he is learning position. I think that's the one thing we have to sort of understand is, I mean, it's going to take him some time. That's a lot of ground to cover, and in a short period of time. He did as much as he probably could in spring training, but it does not come into play nearly when the season starts.
Yeah, and he was playing mostly left until Delino DeShields Jr. was sent down to the minors. And Desmond shifting over to center. Career shortstop, but doing a nice job in the outfield for the Rangers. Here's Matt Joyce with the bases empty and 2 gone. Darvish trying to work a 1-2-3 second, and he has strike one.
Matt Joyce, one of those guys that Clint was talking about, just a grinder, looking for an opportunity to come in and be a difference maker. Struggled last year, but this year, off on the right foot.
Part of what is a really impressive bench for the Pirates. On the outside corner, 0-2.
Well, when you talk about the bench, I mean, he does come off the bench, but I think him and Sean Rodriguez, and then you add in Freese now when Gonga's on the field. I mean, that's a bench that Clint will ride with all day, and that's what you need deep, when the dog days of summer catch you.
Struck out Marte, got Cervelli to fly to center, and he strikes out Joyce to work a 1-2-3 second. Needed only 7 pitches, 23 pitches total over the first 2 innings for Yu Darvish. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Bud Light. Raise one to right now. 3-run first inning for the Rangers against Nicasio, and we go to the bottom of the second. Darvish, 2 scoreless innings. He's thrown 23 pitches on a night where his limit will be 85 to 90. Bottom third of the Rangers order. Nicasio pours in a strike to Elvis Andrus. He was 0 for 4 game last night. Snapped an 11-game hitting streak. For the Rangers shortstop, he's putting together a nice bounce back season.
Yeah, he's a confident guy. I think, the one thing with him is, he believes that no matter what, that he's going to continue to be what we've seen in the past and not let the contract and all the things that happen get to him.
And the worst numbers of his career last year. And that nightmare of a postseason, especially the final game in Toronto in the 7th inning where he committed the 2 errors. But has bounced back from that full year of down numbers and really a steady decline from his all-star seasons. Have a good year so far in 2016. But looks at strike 3 from Nicasio. 1 gone here in the second. Well, in just 6 days, some of the world's biggest soccer stars converge on the United States for the 100th anniversary of the Copa America. It all starts when USA takes on Colombia Friday at 8 Eastern on FS1, or you can watch the entire tournament on Fox Sports Go. So Nicasio has his second strikeout. And up comes Jared Hoying. So Hoying making the start in left field today. Still looking for his first major league hit. 0 for 4. Was called up when Chu and Stubbs both went on the DL last weekend. 1-1. Joey Gallo, by the way, has been sent back to AAA. It's a corresponding move to them activating Darvish.
Yeah,
1-2.
I think that's big for Joey, just to go back down and play. I mean, he's sitting there. He did square up 1 baseball while he's here, but when you're sitting there not knowing when you're going to play, it's always tough, especially when when you're used to playing and you're still young.
On the ground to first, John Jaso takes it to the bag, and 2 up and 2 down here in the second. Nicasio trying to settle in after a 36-pitch first inning that lasted 17 minutes.
Yeah, it was long.
It was a long half inning, yeah.
And this is what you have to do when you're grinding. You got to go out there and come back and bounce back, and it's big for Francisco Cervelli to get him. Whether it's the game plan or not, you got to get him back in that dugout quick in the next inning.
9-hitter Bobby Wilson taking ball 1. Now Wilson's had a meandering path to where he is right now. Finished last season with the Rangers and spent spring training with them. But the Rangers traded him to the Tigers to get Brian Holiday to come be a backup catcher. They then traded to get Wilson back to be one of the catchers as part of this revolving door they've had with Robinson Chirinos on the shelf.
Well, he's been huge. I mean, just listen to the comments after the games from Jeff Bannister, just how much he's helped these pitchers go out there and do their thing and sort of keep them, as you talked about the ERA being top in the game, was because, guys like Bobby Wilson.
He's got a base hit to left. Having a career year at the plate as well. And a 2-out single turns it around to the top of the order.
See the elevated fastball right here from Nicasio. Actually, it was a curveball. Stayed middle, and I think that's the key when you talk about being middle of the plate. You're going to get hit like that all the time. I think that's one thing Nicasio has to stay away from. Is just get those get me over pitches. These guys will hurt you up here.
Second time up there for Jurickson Profar in as many innings. And an infield single his first time. He had started to play some second base in the minors, but didn't start a game at second until Odor's suspension was announced. Odor appealed that suspension. It was dropped from 8 games to 7. and started serving the suspension last night. Ground ball to Mercer, finishes a scoreless second inning for Juan Nicasio. 3-0 on to the third. It's 3-0. We start the third inning. Joe Davis and Cliff Floyd back in Arlington. Jordy Mercer to the plate to face Yu Darvish. First major league start since August of 2014. A little more than 14 months removed from Tommy John surgery. And ready to face 8-9-1 in the Pirates order. There's strike one. You mentioned it off of the top, but Darvish will be on a pitch count, 85 to 90 pitches, and that's something that tentatively they plan on staying around at least for a little while they ease him back in and try to keep the big picture of his season innings count under control. Now here's the thing, when you're under a pitch count like that, it poses some issues when you are as high of a strikeout pitcher as Darvish is. Trying to keep that pitch count down, trying to get deep in games and still doing what you do, which is strike a lot of guys out.
Well, I think that's key. You see him step off right there. He's in a stretch. Actually, he's coming out the stretch, or he's thinking about something. But you're right, Joe. I think the big thing is just not making it difficult for him. Allowing him to sort of just get into a flow and not even thinking about it.
Softly hit to short. Beltre or Andrews gets it over there in time to get Mercer. As pitching coach Doug Brocail said, Yu Darvish is Yu Darvish. He's going to pitch how he knows how to pitch, regardless of what the pitch count is.
Right.
You don't expect the guy to change his philosophy.
You can't. I think the one thing you have to allow him to do is just make sure he go out there, and if it's a full arsenal of pitches, don't tell him he has to throw fastball, curveball, cutter. Let him be himself, and he'll figure it out. And I think that's the one thing you look for in your aces, figuring out how to go out there and give you, just the quality. That's all they asking of him, the quality, not try to be Superman and be himself. But that's easy said for me up here in the booth.
Here's Cole Figueroa, whose first start this season comes against Yu Darvish. Go get him. 2-0.
And these are things you look for. For me, I'm wondering, why is he coming out the stretch? Is that just to get a feel for it? Things like that is you have to allow him to be him. Doug Brocail can't go out there and say, hey, are you uncomfortable coming out of the windup? you know, this is your star. This is your stud out there on the mound, and he'll figure it out. And you got to let him just, you know, just chill. And I think also with Bobby Wilson, they have to get on the same page as well.
That one just misses, and a 4-pitch walk to Figueroa. His first 3 pass issued and a 1-out base runner. It all starts here, the 2016 Major League Baseball Draft. Coverage beginning at 6 Eastern on Thursday, June 9th, only on MLB Network. Darvish was drafted in Japan once upon a time, dominated the circuit over there after a legendary high school career. They've got the big high school tournament in Japan that's such a big deal. He threw a no-hitter in the championship game of the spring edition of that tournament, and then was one of the more dominant pitchers in Japan. Broke out of the world scene in the 2009 World Baseball Classic, won the title with Team Japan, and then signed that 6-year deal in 2012 worth $56 million with the Rangers. Strike one to John Jaso.
Well, right now it's looking like a bargain.
Yeah, assuming they can get him to get back to where he was before the injury, before the surgery. See the kind of numbers top tier starting pitchers are calling for these days. Jaso singled his first time. It's the only hit for the Pirates, and on 1-1 fouls it off himself in the box. 1-2. First game for him since Wednesday. Pirates face back-to-back left-handed starters, so he got the finale of the home standoff on Thursday, and then the opener of this one last night.
I saw my boy John Jaso in the hotel lobby last night, and I forgot to ask him about this hairdo.
Yeah,
it's a little different.
Yes, it is.
I played with him in 08 with Tampa for a cup of coffee. He was there, and he didn't have that.
Did you have the same do going then that you do now?
No.
No.
Well, actually, I had a little. I had a little bit of hair. I had the little receding hairline, so I just go ahead and shave it off.
Yeah.
You know. I don't think I could ever get to that point, though. No.
Would you if you could? Would you pull that off? Yeah. Up and in on Jaso, and the count goes full.
With this day and age, and you know, with the beards and Thor in New York with the long hair, DeGrom, I mean, it's a different game. Maybe the chicks love it. I don't know.
Figueroa at first with one gone. Rangers in front 3-0. A 3-run first inning against Juan Nicasio. Figueroa with a good lead. He takes off, and it's fouled back. Pirates second in the National League in stolen bases. Only the Brewers have stolen more.
That's the type of team they have, sort of a manufacturing type of ball club now, a little different, but they have depth. And I think when you talk about Figueroa down there getting a spot start, but Jody Mercer and Matt Joyce and these guys, I mean, you know, they have a deep lineup, but they all put the ball in play consistently. That's been their philosophy, and it's been working.
Figueroa runs again on strike 3, down to second, not in time, and Figueroa's got a stolen base. But Darvish has his 4th punch out of the evening, and 2 gone in the 3rd.
See the jump by Figueroa is a good jump. See him peek in to see if the ball is put in play with less than 2 outs, and gets that hand in there, tag on him, and just nice tag. See that left hand gets in there before the tag is on.
So an RBI chance for Andrew McCutchen, who was a strikeout victim of Darvish's his first time up. And an awkward looking swing at a breaking ball after back-to-back fastballs from Darvish. Has more than 500 strikeouts in his career. Included a season in 2013 where he led the majors. That's ball one.
He has so many different pitches, and they're really good ones. I think that's the key when you're watching Darvish, Joe. It's just how effective every pitch he throws up there, it is. And some guys are 2-pitch, 3-pitch. You don't necessarily worry about those guys much. When you have 4 and 5, then it becomes, where you have a headache every once in a while.
And he's used that wide repertoire. The postseason numbers over his first 3 seasons among qualifying pitchers, those strikeouts per 9 innings, more than 11, the most all time. He was the fastest player ever to reach 500. Got there to 500 a few innings faster than Kerry Wood did.
And the key is executing it. I mean, hitting your spots, getting guys to swing. We saw the curveball in the first at bat to McCutchen, and it buckled him. And that's execution. Him being able to repeat all those pitches and all those arm slots is crucial for him. See it again.
Yeah, buckled his knees again.
Cuts is like, hold on, man. He's like, hold up, I ain't seen that. you look right here, it's like, oh, I haven't seen that the whole season.
Figueroa's at second with 2 gone, and a 2-2 to Andrew McCutchen. Goes down and gets it, flips it to short, and Andrews has it to retire the side. Second time the Pirates have stranded a man in scoring position. Adrian Beltre, who hit a 2-run homer his first time up, comes up in this next inning. 3-0 Rangers. Third inning for the Rangers against Juan Nicasio. Desmond shows bunt, takes ball one. Doubled his first time, came in to score on the home run from Beltre. And 2 guys facing off here that have a bit of a history together. Desmond hits it to third. David Freese has it for the first out of the inning. Back in August of 2011, Juan Nicasio was facing Ian Desmond in Colorado, and Desmond lined the ball back to the mound and off of his head. On the fall, he fractured a vertebrae in his neck, had trouble breathing in those moments after that ball struck him in the head. He said he vividly remembers laying there thinking, I don't want to die. With the trouble he was having breathing. Spent a month in a neck brace, but was able to return the following spring.
That's just awful. You never want to see that, but as hitters, you know, Joe, I've always said this, we're taught to hit the ball right back up the box. I mean, right back up the middle. And, you know, the pitcher's standing there, and those are unfortunate situations. I know Major League Baseball is doing some things. I invented a ball cap liner for those reasons. And it's just because 60 feet, 6 inches away, the guy's standing there, and, you know, these guys are getting stronger, as we see with StatCast and we see with these balls coming off the bat. I mean, you know, they're sitting there staring at you.
Fielder pulls a bouncing ball to first. 2 up and 2 down in this 3rd inning as Nicasio settles in after the 36 pitch 1st inning. The highlight of that 1st inning was 2-run homer from Adrian Beltre, who comes up here with the bases empty and 2 gone. Put him above 1,500 RBIs in his career. His 9th home run of the year.
He'll always remember that at bat. That was a great at bat in the 1st inning.
Yeah, homer to the 9th pitch of the AB. Beltre on 1-0. It's a towering pop fly. At short, Jordy Mercer completes a 6-pitch inning for Juan Nicasio. Telecast is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the exhilarating new Lincoln MKZ. And by T-Mobile, switch to the Data Strong network. It's turned into a beautiful night here in Arlington, where the Rangers lead the Pirates 3-0, trying to even this series at a game apiece. Trying to get their 6th win out of their last 8. And in doing so, looking to snap the Pirates' 5-game winning streak. 85 degrees the temperature right now. It reached the 90s earlier this afternoon. Very humid. Up here, though, those fans feel pretty good.
Oh, without a doubt.
Darvish, second trip to the order. Gregory Polanco to line to short his first time. And begins this 4th inning with ball 1. So 4 punch outs for Darvish, who's thrown 43 pitches. He's walked 1. It was the 9-hitter Figueroa. And in 2 of the first 3 innings, the Pirates have left a man in scoring position. 2-0.
You see right off the bat, you're talking about the second time through, Joe. He started off with a little sinker, 91, and then an off-speed pitch right there. And this is how, when you talk about pitching, and this is what you want to see from your guys, not being, throwers. Darvish is a pitcher, hitting the spots, trying to establish the strike zone and things like that.
Hard hit right to Profar for the first out of the inning. Moments ago, he asked Gregory Polanco's manager Clint Hurdle about what's made him so special this year.
It's hard work. It's a stubborn approach at the plate, believing in himself, staying with some things. This league, this league's hard. When you do well here, you don't go up. You got to figure out how to do well here again. And he got to learn some lessons early. He's throwing some punches back now. Confident in the box, running the bases well, playing good defense. Fun watching him grow up.
Hey, Clint, Nicasio had a tough first inning, but was able to get out of the second and get his feet up on him a little bit.
Yeah, we'd like to see him more aggressive, and I don't just mean aggressive, but I mean quicker, a little quicker with the tempo and the rhythm. You saw the second inning. I thought he was a little more efficient with his pitch, a little more quick with the pitches as far as getting on the mound, getting the sign going. We all have a tendency, I think guys that have a pitch have a tendency when they get men on base, they think they're going to disappear, and the only way you get rid of them is roll a ground ball or strike a couple people out. You got to do that to pitch. So he's going to be fine. He's competing, and we look like we got a little bit of competing to do against Darvish tonight. I think he'll be good once the rust gets knocked off.
Appreciate the time, Clint. Good luck. Ball and a strike on his third baseman, David Freese. He cuts it a fastball and misses 1-2. Yeah, there's not looked to be much rust, like Hurdle joked around about. At his first start in 658 days on a major league mound. Here's 1-2.
Well, you talk about the rehab starts that he went on. Yeah, he hit velocity-wise, but it's not the same down there. The adrenaline's not flowing as much as it is. You got a packed house here in Arlington. And then also, you come back and you get the pitch count, but he had to go through a full week of getting himself ready to get out here today. And that's what Jeff Bannister wanted and got it.
You saw his pitching coach, Doug Brocail, who had a pair of Tommy John surgeries himself. Darvish has gone a couple of years since his last big league outing. Brocail went 4 years between big league outings, with the back-to-back years having Tommy John. And now in his first season as the Rangers pitching coach, like we've referenced, even without Yu Darvish, they've been the #1 rotation in the majors as far as earned run average. Seventh pitch of the at-bat to David Freese. Big breaking ball, fouls it off.
That's that big slow curveball that he has in his arsenal. But I think with Doug is just watching every pitch, holding on, making sure that everything stays the same. That's going to be key for him coming back, because as you mentioned earlier, it's going to be more starts of 80 to 85 pitches early on. So you have to just maintain and then continue to work and build not only strength but confidence.
53rd pitch of the night. Just misses on Freese. There have been a couple of borderline pitches that have gone the hitter's way. 3-2.
It's a little close, I would say.
But as a hitter, you agree, right?
It's a ball all day long. But I'm 50-50 now, Joe. I have to be that way.
You do. Play it down the middle. Got him. His fifth punch out. Turned it up to 96 this time. 2 away.
talk about just easy gas. Pretty much middle. Frace just misses it. That angle right there lets you know. I love that angle because it gives our viewers a chance to see. You know, it looks a little easier from center field, but from that view, you see how fast that ball gets up on you.
2 up and 2 down. Here's Starling Marte, who struck out his first time and swings over the top of the first one. Strike 1. Yeah, not too many angles can truly do justice to what it must be like standing in there against 96.
That's why I have to be careful sometimes when I be talking about these hitters. Like, yo, you're not hitting that.
I think this angle here does a good job of it. And of course, as soon as we go to the angle that shows off the speed, he throws one at 65. It looks slow, and it was.
Almost the ethos right there, huh?
Wilson setting away for this 1-1. Marte swings through it. Strike 2.
That's not fair. You throw 66 and then come back with 95. That's why when you go into the video rooms and you go in and you're watching all these pitches, you're saying, I gotta deal with that 96 right there as we see on the replay, and then the 66 mile. It's just tough. That's why sometimes it's better to come to the park, have a little something to eat, go to the cage, and let it rip. Forget all the technology.
Marte able to fight off a 97-mile-per-hour heater from the 29-year-old out of Japan, Yu Darvish. First outing since August of 2014. And the Tommy John surgery March 17th last year. After he felt soreness in his first start of the spring. Missed all of last season. Worked his way back through rehab. And back on a major league mound with 3 2/3 scoreless innings against one of baseball's top offenses. Is 1-2. Down and away, 2-2. He's only allowed 1 walk. He's only allowed 1 hit. It was to the first batter that he faced in Jaso.
You wanted that, huh?
Check swing and a breaking ball. Bounce to first. Darvish covering, and he's got 4 shutout frames in his return to Texas. 3-0 Rangers. 36 pitches to retire the side in the first inning. Rangers got 3 runs in that first frame, but back-to-back scoreless innings where he's needed only 19 pitches total to settle into this one. He starts Nomar Mazara with a strike. Fly to left his first time. Coming off a 3rd consecutive multi-hit game and putting together a runaway case right now for American League Rookie of the Year. That's bounced foul, and it's 0-2.
That was close. Good job by the ball girl down there. You don't know, don't touch. I think the key though with Juan is just as Clint alluded to, just get into a rhythm. You have to have a rhythm. You see the replay. Ooh, from that angle. Good call.
Clint Fagan, first base umpire, was all over it.
All over it.
Mazara starting off this 4th inning for the Rangers. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 7 for his last 12 with a couple of home runs.
Is that hot? That 583 right there, Joe?
It's not hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll keep you in the big leagues a long time.
You know,
what
last year, of course, it was Carlos Correa who was Rookie of the Year in the American League, and it's touted as the next big thing, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
He's special. Through 40 games of his career, he was hitting .288. Through 40 games of Mazara's career, .325.
Can I go on record and say he's better? Leave it alone.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
swings and misses at a sharp breaking pitch for the first out of the inning. You know, this June, the greatest golfers in the world converge on the historic Oakmont Country Club for the 116th U.S. Open Championship. Live coverage begins Thursday, June 16th on FS1. It continues through the final round on Sunday, June 19th on Fox. Okay, so you saying on the record Nomar Mazara is already a better player than Carlos Correa?
I'm joking.
Okay.
You know, for all the Twitter people out there,
already exploded.
Put your phone down. Stop playing.
Here's Mitch Morland. K'd his first time and has won for his last 27 now. You know, Correa in Houston is in a pretty ordinary year right now. But there's so many pieces to Correa's game beyond just whatever batting average it is that he puts up.
Yeah.
His fielding is incredible and already a presence in that clubhouse for as young of a player as he is.
And I think the thing for me is at what point do you get maybe Altuve hits behind him? You know, I know he's a table setter, but until you get some production from Springer or Rasmus or whoever after him, you know, he's going to get pitches where, you know, they don't care if they walk him. When you look at his numbers, they're still good. I just think when you talk about maximizing, you know, what he can bring, especially in that ballpark, you know, I think at some point you think about it. It happened in D.C. In one pitch in a Harper, putting my best hitter behind Danny Murphy. Let's go. We hit 4.
Astros started the day 20-29, a monster disappointment. Tied for last in the American League West. They had the worst record in the American League period during April. It had been better in May, but still they dug themselves such a large hole. Right now the Astros sit 9 games behind the first place Mariners. The Rangers a game and a half back of Seattle.
Well, I think it all starts with their stud and Dallas Keuchel. If he don't come around, it's going to be a long year. I know you know look at the bullpen, whatever, but Dallas Keuchel is the guy, and he hasn't been great thus far.
Juan Nicasio out of the Dominican Republic. 6th major league season, former Rocky, former Dodger, and his first season in a Pirate uniform. 3-2 on Morland. You mentioned it earlier, but yet another guy they took a bit of a flyer on, hoping they could find lightning like they have so many times with Ray Searage as the pitching coach. Recapturing things from earlier in guys' careers or finding things that they've never flashed. Here's a 3-2. And Morland hits a high drive to deep right center field. A deep breath from Morland on a home run. How good does that feel, Cliff, for a guy that was 1 for his last 27?
Well, I tell you what, you keep battling, you sit there, you see the off-speed pitch right here, Joe. He goes down. That is the nitro zone for any lefty hitter. And off the bat, you knew that ball was gone, especially in this ballpark. But you're right, absolutely right. You know, that feels good. You battle, you get rewarded.
Elvis Andrus chops one foul. You know, Morland struggling like he never has before, and he's never been a guy that's, you know, a consistent 300 hitter, but he's also never been a guy that's gone through pockets like this. A 1 for 27 slide. Somebody who's been pretty consistent throughout his career here in Texas. Andrews checks on Freeze, who is drawn in. That's a tough play for out number 2. Time for a game break. For the first time tonight, we say hello to Kevin Burkhardt. Wow, so they wait until the second night of the series. Yeah, strike one is poured into Jared Hoying. Nothing last night.
No. I mean, look, you felt at some point something's going to happen. And Thor's the guy. I mean, he throws behind him, though.
Yeah.
Chase Utley's probably saying thank you.
Yeah, right.
But that stuff for me, you know what? It's not part of the game. You know, we see it, but for me, it's one of those things where, you know, baseball has to clean it up.
Jared Hoying's first major league hit is a single to center.
Get that ball.
You still have yours?
Of course.
Where is it?
I don't know.
There it is in the Major League Baseball Authenticator. Put a sticker on it.
Yep. That's feeling right there. You see it. Little two-seamer comes back over the plate, and he just stays through it. Or not. Get a little tap on the head by Ortiz, first base coach. Never forget that one, Joe.
Who'd yours come off of?
I think Dave Tailgater.
Okay.
Back
Single,
when I was with
double.
the Expos. Swing and bunt.
Sweet. They even give you the ball when you
Hey,
do
look,
that.
it was a line
infield.
drive all day. I'll never forget it. Line drive over first baseman's head.
One and one on Bobby Wilson.
Bobby was diving a little bit right there and got caught leaning over.
Singled his first time up. And you know the Rangers are looking forward to Robinson Chirinos coming back. Eligible to come off with the disabled list a few days into June, but the way Bobby Wilson has been swinging the bat, take your time to get healthy if you're Robinson Chirinos.
I don't like using Wally Pipp references, but every once in a while I throw it out there just being funny. But this is what you have to do with opportunities, right? Take advantage of it and make it difficult for Jeff Bannister to put you on the bench. But for me, his job is more of getting his pitching staff to be what they've been thus far. His hitting, yeah, that's a bonus. But the pitching and making sure these guys are on the same page every night, you know, paying attention to detail is crucial for them.
Brian Holiday's been a part of that as well. Runner at first with 2 gone and a 1-2 to Bobby Wilson. Got him with a fastball. It's the 4th Nicasio strikeout. What a solo homer from Mitch Morland, and the Rangers lead 4-0. Not disappointed. 5 punch-outs over 4 scoreless innings. The only hit came from the leadoff man John Jaso. He'll face 6, 7, and 8 in this 5th inning. Francisco Cervelli to lead it off. Cervelli flied to center his first time. Recently signed a long-term contract extension as well. 3-year extension that he signed last week. Stay in Pittsburgh through the 2018 season. Since they acquired him prior to last season from the Yankees, he's been one of the best offensive catchers in the game. 2-0.
Yeah, that contract was well deserved. He works hard and has made himself into one of the best in the game behind the dish.
That one tails in for a strike, 2-1. Darvish has thrown 63 pitches now, and again, if you're just joining us, the pitch target for him around 85 to 90. And his first major league start since August of 2014. Is 2-1. Cervelli fights it off into right center, and that is a base hit. Nazar can't get it. Cervelli's got a leadoff single.
See Nazar go down for that ball. Just comes up a little short. Good jump. Nothing he can do about that one. Inside out about Cervelli right here, Joe. That's a tough play for any outfielder. You got to deal with the lights and the fact that the ball is fading on you. But I like the effort from the kid going for a ball in tight situations. The ball gets past you. That's a hustle double. That nothing you can do about it.
Leadoff man on for Matt Joyce, who pops up the first pitch. And a short left. Jared Hoying calls off Andrews for out number 1. A few minutes ago, we had a chance to talk to Jeff Bannister about what he's thought about Darvish so far.
Very impressive. You know, the fastball is coming out hot and clean. Seems to have all the secondary pitches in play. Strikeability right now and just the intensity by which he's going at it is pretty impressive.
You know, Jeff, if you look at the offense in the first inning, made Nicasio work. I mean, some 9-pitch at bats, 11-pitch at bat. Just talk about the offense attacking in the strike zone.
Well, absolutely. You know, a guy that we know that the fastball can get away from him a little bit. He tends to try to overpower you and get it out of the strike zone. Our plan was to get him in the strike zone, make him work a little bit. And look, big ball by Beltre. We had some guys set the table for him. That's how our offensive plays. And so we got to keep that going. We got to sustain some innings and put some runs on the board.
Appreciate the time, Jeff.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Jordy Mercer behind Darvish, 0-1 with a runner at first and 1 gone in the 5th. And there's strike 2. Of course, this is a extra special series for Jeff Bannister, facing the organization that he spent the first 3 decades of his baseball life with. 29 years with the Pirates, 8 as a player, mostly in the minors. In fact, all but 1 plate appearance in the minors. And 17 years as a minor league manager and coach and instructor before he was hired as Clint Hurdle's first bench coach. Lost out on that managerial opening to Clint Hurdle. He was one of the finalists. He spent the 4 years with Hurdle in Pittsburgh before getting this job prior to last season and winning American League Manager of the Year.
Well, I'll tell you what, I could talk to him all day. I mean, intense, you know, eye contact, everything you want. And open door policy, which you love.
Runner takes off, throw down to second, nowhere close to in time to get Cervelli, who had a great jump.
Almost thinking Darvish forgot about him over there and didn't take a peek at him and took a bag on him. You see him, Darvish just kicks to the sky and Cervelli's like, all right, I'm an athlete. Swipe a bag. Good slide too.
3rd stolen base of the season for the Pirate catcher. RBI chance for Mercer, who fouls it off. We were talking about the playing career for Jeff Bannister. It was almost exclusively in the minors. He had 1 career plate appearance on July 23rd, 1991, and he got an infield single.
Oh, wow. A little skinny thing. He's not skinny anymore.
Mercer down on strikes with a tailing fastball. Number 6 for Darvish. Bannister grew up in Texas, actually grew up an Astros fan. Sneaking into the Astrodome as a kid to watch Nolan Ryan pitch. Worked his way up through the system as a coach and a manager. Was a field coordinator for a few seasons before becoming the bench coach in Clint Hurdle's first season as the manager, and then came over here to become the Rangers manager for the 2015 campaign.
Well, you see that minor league field coordinator, that's communication. That's, you know, being able to get on the same page with everybody in the minor league system. It just oozes, you know, out of them, and in our meetings you could tell. I think the big thing is the same thing with his big league club, is being able to bring guys in whether they had adversity or not. Talking about a guy in the bullpen and Matt Bush, you know, life-wise hasn't been as, you know, as well as you'd like, but being able to have conversations with him so you're on the same page, it's communications.
He said that was one of the big things that he was able to take from Clint Hurdle, is the way that Clint Hurdle communicates with his players. Such an important part of the job that you might not think about, you know, sitting at home. You think about making lineups,
yeah,
right? Making in-game strategy decisions, but such a huge part of the job is the personal side of it behind closed doors.
Well, you can have closed doors, yes, Joe, but you can have also open door policy, but not the right words, right? And if it's not conveyed the right way, I mean, you're going to have guys out there probably not understanding what your philosophy is wholeheartedly. And I think that's the key with having the right words and being able to get on the same page consistently.
Figueroa with a clean hack. 3-2.
Just a good hard old sink. You see Figueroa head pulling out of there, but Darvish velocity is exactly where Brocail and Bannister probably wants him to be.
Figueroa with a base hit into right center. Cervelli heads home on an RBI single for Cole Figueroa, and the Pirates are on the board in the 5th.
We're pretty much seeing a lot of hard stuff from Darvish tonight, and then you wonder on a pitch where you're thinking it should be hard, he throws a curveball. And not saying you're being cute, but this is how hitters make a living. You make mistakes, and they make you pay.
And how about Figueroa, whose first start of the entire season comes against Darvish?
Thanks, Clint.
Yeah, but he's walked.
That's it.
And he's got an RBI single. Darvish, meanwhile, now at 77 pitches. Rangers would love to see him retire Jaso quickly to have a chance to come back out with a 6. Ties him up on strike 1.
You know, the key when you talk about facing guys like Darvish and these tough starts that these, platoon and bench players get is, you can't look at the name on the back of the jersey. You got to go with your strength and your preparation for that day. And I think that's when you look at Figueroa getting a chance to face Darvish is, hey, if he makes a mistake, I got to make him pay for it.
Figueroa, a guy that's bounced around. He was drafted out of Florida by the Padres and was dealt to the Rays. Made his big league debut at Tampa Bay in 2014. A handful of games. And played 2 games last year with the Yankees before coming over to the Pirates and making his first opening day roster this year.
And let me tell you, that role right there is not easy. I did it late in my career, to the latter part, and it is hard to consistently get to the ballpark and get your mindset, the right way and prepare for every start. Whether you start or not, you have to prepare every day like you're playing.
So this is a 20-pitch inning for Darvish, likely making it his last. Pitch number 81 of the night. After a toss to first.
After that hit by Figueroa, you saw Doug Brocail on the phone talking to that bullpen. You see some action down there from up here. And this is what all you could ask for from Darvish today is just give you this, like I said earlier, a quality start. Get his feet up under him and get him ready for his next one.
And Figueroa leaning this time and almost got him.
See that lean right there, Joe, as you talked about. Figueroa just gets back in there. That was close.
Darvish steps off the back of the mound.
It's a great shot by boys in the truck.
Give the dugout a chance to see if they want to review this. Play on.
That instant replay, boy, something else. Strategy itself.
Well, Jaso swings and misses, and Darvish with 7 punch outs, 1 run allowed over his 6 innings, and leaves to This is sponsored by Bud Light. Raise one to right now. Beautiful night. Arlington, Texas. Darvish's return has been a good one. Rangers in front 4-1. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and Jurickson Profar gets set to lead things off against Juan Nicasio. Profar's 1 for 2. Singleton scored in that 3-run first inning, then grounded out to short in the second. We talk about Nomar Mazara being the youngest player in the majors right now at 21. When Profar debuted, he was 19 in 2012. Played 9 games near the end of that season. The following year played in 85 games before the shoulder problems caused him to miss 2 full seasons. Had labrum surgery in February of last year. Former #1 prospect in baseball waits on this 1-1 and hammers it down the right field line. Foul. Thing is pummeled.
Talk about #1 pick. Look at that, getting on top and sort of tomahawking. Once he learns to keep that fair, that's when he takes off.
Profar chops it foul, and it stays 1-2. Juan Nicasio threw 36 pitches in the first inning, and so it's a wonder that here he is in the 5th, having only thrown 81.
Settled down nicely. Gave a home to Mitch Morland, but other than that, he's been fluid and getting a good rhythm.
Somehow Profar gets his bat on that.
Got a battle.
Desmond and Fielder to follow in this 5th inning. But right now, Jurickson Profar puts it in play past the outstretched mid, and Nicasio, and a bare hand play by Cole Figueroa gets him. Have a day, Cole Figueroa. He's got the lone RBI tonight for Pittsburgh, and now a dazzling defensive play for out #1.
Talk about great play right here, Joe. This ball is tough. Nicasio misses, but he has a bare hand. That's the only way he knows he can get the Profile. He was getting up the line really good. You see the bare hand right here and throwing on the run. Great pick over there by Jay So as well.
A couple of former Tampa Bay Rays, and Figueroa and Jay So combining on that 4-3 putout.
See Juan like, yeah, PFP's a little light.
Yeah. So up comes Ian Desmond. Doubled and scored in the first inning, grounded out in the 3rd. Starts him with a slider, strike 1. One ball and 1 strike. Statcast powered by Amazon Web Services. This is that first inning double with an exit velocity of 103.
I love it. When you get that outfield out there all turned around, he don't know which direction to turn. That's when you absolutely smash the baseball.
If you were playing while Statcast was around, how much would you look at that kind of stuff?
I would look at it. For me, I like the exit velocity. I really do. As far as the distance, if it goes 405 and it goes over the fence, I'm fine with that. But when you talk about smashing it, when you talk about squaring it up, the exit velocity gives you the idea, especially to our viewers, like, hey, you know what? You absolutely destroyed that ball.
Major league average for a batted ball is about 88.5 miles per hour. To give it some perspective, that light was hit at 103. Yep, that's the average.
Wow, I would have thought it was a little higher than that. Well, I guess you have when you have beasts like Stanton and those guys hitting missiles all over the place. Yeah. it gives you a good idea when you talk about balls coming off the bat and how these guys are at the disposal, literally, of guys like Stanton and, you know, even Ian Desmond. At 103, that ball destroyed.
I think it'll really be great, that StatCast data will, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 100 years from now, when you have all that data to draw on. Desmond pulls a high line drive to left center. Marte is there for out number 2. You know, we can go back and say that's the hardest hit ball by a Pirate in 47 years.
Right.
Something like that. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. Let's see. 47 years. I'll be 100.
Don't do that to yourself.
Okay, I was just saying, I had to do a little math right there. I'm saying I won't be calling that one.
Here's Prince Fielder. Speaking of exit velocity, his double yesterday was his second hardest hit ball of the year. He hit it 111 miles per hour. There has not been nearly as much hard hit ball contact from Prince Fielder this season. He's 0 for 2 tonight. An average dropping from the 194 that he entered the game with.
I just think he has to get out of his comfort zone of taking that first pitch strike and give himself a chance to get 3 of them, because now you look at the whole, he's dug himself in his own 2, and when you look at the average and look at his bubblegum card, you know he's a better player than this, but you know, when you're giving pitches away, it keeps you where you are.
The question for the Rangers becomes, how long do you continue to not just play him, but bat him in the 3 spot?
Well, I think
3, 4, 5.
Yeah, you know, Joe, I think more of that, where you hit him in the line. Jeff is going to pencil him in that lineup 6 days out of 7. I mean, he's your guy. I think it's more to the point of where he hits. It will be the biggest question.
So at no point do you consider the fact that you may have a guy on the bench who could produce better than Prince Fielder? I mean, at what point do you get to the spot in the season where it's like, this is no longer a slow start, this is a guy who's hurting the lineup?
Well, that's a great question. I think, you know, a lot of that will be answered when Chu gets back, right? And if he's swinging the bat and Prince is not, you know, maybe that 6 games gets shortened to 4, 3. You know, he has to produce at some point, and not go down to the cage and make your hands bleed, but just figure out how to take this, you know, swing of his and that tap and get it on point.
Here comes a 2-2 from Nicasio.
I got it.
Oh, it's right towards us, right below us.
That was my favorite thing to say to fans when they try to catch the balls in the stands. You thought it was easy, huh?
Nicasio trying to work a 1-2-3 frame. His 2-2 to Prince Fielder outside, and the count goes full after Prince had fallen behind 0-2. There have been some signs, Jeff Bannister said, of Prince Fielder starting to slowly come out of it. The at-bats have been better. It's been some harder contact, like the 111-mile-per-hour double that he hit last night. But such a large piece of data now that he's trying to overcome. 2 months of slumping. That ball's hammered to center. McCutchen back on it, turns, and it bangs off the wall. Fielder's got himself a 2-out double.
When we talk about exit velocity, this ball is tattooed off the bat. 3-2 count, right down the middle. And Prince makes him pay. See how ball Cuts tries to deke him a little bit, knowing that ball's over his head. Goes off, gives him a good bounce, but Prince is getting it out the box. He can smell a double though, Joe. Then he make the earth shake a little bit.
So a 2-out double and a mound visit here from Ray Searage. StatCast is powered by Amazon Web Services, and with Adrian Beltre coming to the plate. We look back at his 2-run homer in the first inning. 102 the exit velocity on that one.
See what I mean about the distance? See, it went 405. It's a homer.
Yeah.
I like the exit velocity off the bat. For me, that's where you like to see these guys, when they connect and get good wood on the baseball.
So that was 103. The double that Fielder just hit, in case you're wondering, 108.
Yeah, to me that was harder than than Beltre's and Desmond's.
And it was. We have proof.
When I say hard, like much harder. We got the proof, but I'm talking about much harder. See, to me, that's more than 108. That ball didn't have any slice, nothing. Just straight on the line.
I'm not sure the computer is the one you want to pick an argument with, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
I trust my eyes, though.
Yeah.
I do trust my eyes more, though, I swear. I like the analytics. I think it's great for the game and what we're going. I love it. I still think you have to trust, happy medium.
Totally agree with you. Here's Adrian Beltre with 2 gone and a runner at second. Rangers trying to add on to this 4-1 lead, trying to even this series at a game apiece after the Pirates took the opener 9-1 last night. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. Late break to it. 1-1. Next pitch will be the 100th of the game for Juan Nicasio. And since that first inning where he gave up 3 runs has been pretty solid. On the edge, strike 2.
It's a good pitch by him, but you see those stats with Beltre with runs in scoring position. You got to be careful. 373 clip, but it's a tough pitch right here to hit on the black. 2-seamer to come back over. Good pitch by Nicasio.
Juan Nicasio is exclusively a starting pitcher in his first few seasons in the majors with the Rockies, but then exclusively a reliever last year with the Dodgers. Won himself a spot in the rotation with that spotless spring training you mentioned. 24 innings or 15 innings, didn't give up a run. Struck out 24 and won the 5th spot in the rotation over Ryan Vogelsong. Got off to a great start, had an ERA around 3 during April. But it has not been good in May, an ERA above 6. It's 2-2 to Adrian Beltre. Punch foul.
Sometimes we get caught up in spring training stats and think it's a little eyewash, and some guys come and do great and face number 99, the guy that's probably not going to make the team. But I think they paid close attention to just the arm, the velocity, big arm, secondary stuff is back. And Clayton alluded to it in the meetings, Joe, just about making sure they watch him as far as keeping his legs up. Being a reliever all last year and then converting into a starter is tough on the fly. You got to build up for it. You got to come to spring training. You got to showcase and go deep in the games just to prove to the team that that you're capable and durable enough.
Whatever the message was from Cervelli there, was delivered with gusto.
Yeah.
After the 2-out double from Fielder, here's a 2-2 pitch to Adrian Beltre. Came in with a fastball and he fouled it off.
This is just a big old ouch right off the back leg, back knee. You never expect it. You always think you're going to hit it off the front. And you hit it off like that right there off the backside, and you're thinking about the next pitch, but you're really not thinking about the next pitch.
This is a new season high for Nicasio, and pitches thrown. Number 104 is another 2-2. And Beltre takes it in the dirt to run the count full. A.J. Schugel out in the Pirates bullpen. Tony Watson, by the way, is back from paternity leave today, so he's available in the Pirates pen. The 3-2. Walked him. Beltre. What leads you to make that reaction on a pitch that bounces?
I really don't.
They are going to go to Schugel. Nicasio leaves in the bottom of the 5th. Runners at first and second. His responsibility in a 4-1 game. Coverage of baseball sponsored by T-Mobile, and of course it's the Texas Taekwondo United as part of Korea night here at the ballpark. Pre-game festivities. Look at this.
Come on, Joe.
Get out of here. Woo!
I wouldn't trust him right there. Now this right here is off the charts right here. This is where you go hamstring pull. I'd have blew out everything in my body.
That is awesome. A.J. Shugel's in to face Nomar Mazara with 2 on and 2 out. That's ball
that
1.
Impressive.
My gosh, tossing him up in the air, the body control to. Would you let one of those guys kick an apple off your head?
Nah.
No, me either.
I don't care how good you are.
Nope. Well, Nicasio retired the first 2 men in this inning. He got Profar to bounce to second. He got Desmond to fly to left. It seems like it was like an hour ago.
Yeah, and you know what? He slowed down everything, and that's exactly what Clint Hurdle didn't want from him after the first inning.
But a double from Fielder and a walk to Beltre brings up Mazara, who fouls it off, and it's 1-1. So A.J. Schugel replacing Juan Nicasio. Second stint he's had with the big league club this season. He got his first major league win on Thursday. Had a blown save and got a win. Must be living right.
To say the least.
Yeah. Mazara's 0 for 2. 3 consecutive multi-hit games coming into this one. That included a 2 for 4 night in the opener last night, where the Rangers Had 10 hits, but were hitless with men in scoring position. And played to just 1 run. Change up 2-2.
Good. See the movement on the late movement ball. Fell off.
Lazard down swinging. Schugel comes on and gets the job done in a 4-1 game after 5. Telecast is sponsored by Falcon Tires on the Pulse and by Cricket Wireless. Something to smile about. How's that look, Cliff?
Amazing.
Man.
Like, legit, eat every bit of everything there.
I'm pretty sure it's National Brisket Day. I read a tweet somewhere.
A good brisket.
Is that your favorite barbecued item?
Well, I can't actually barbecue it. I'm good on the grill, just not with brisket.
Okay. Tony Barnett's into the game. So you go from a native of Japan and Yu Darvish to a guy that spent the last 6 years of his career pitching in Japan. Made his major league debut at 32 years old earlier this year and delivered strike 1 to Andrew McCutchen.
6 years in Japan, huh?
Yeah. The Arizona State was drafted by the D-backs, spent a few years in their minor league system, but then went over to Japan in 2010 and had a really good year last year that led the Rangers to taking a flyer on him, signing him to a 2-year contract. Here's a 1-1. McCutchen takes it inside, and it's 2-1.
You see his delivery is sort of like some of the players that we see have come over from Japan. All right, so a little hesitation at the top. Look at his spikes he's wearing, the Asics that they all have on, you know, and he wouldn't go somewhere 6 years, I guess. Yeah, bring back something.
McCutchen hammers a fly ball to deep left field, sending Hoying back shy of the track to make the play. Just got under it a little bit for the first out. So Barnett replaces Darvish, who goes 5 innings in his first start since August of 2014. Allows 1 run on 3 hits and a walk. He struck out 7. And what were your impressions of Yu Darvish here in his return?
Well, no rust, I'll tell you that. When you look at a guy that's missed as much time as Darvish has missed. Came out fluid, efficient, hitting his spots, using all his pitches. I thought that was crucial. You talk about the 7 Ks, and I think all you could ask for him today was just to go out there and give you the quality that you got, and they must be thrilled.
Joining a rotation that's already #1 in the American League entering today's game. A .353 earned run average. Of course, Cole Hamels and Darvish now giving you a really nice top 2 in the rotation.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to what Cole Hamels was part of in Philadelphia back in 2010, 2011 with Halladay and Oswalt and Lee.
Forget they had that really good rotation that they had. Yeah.
Special. Gregory Polanco's 0 for 2 today, and on 1-0 fouls it off and is in some pain.
That one will leave a mark. Joe, I'm telling you, I've done, and that's the back toe. It's always the back. They letting the ball get deep.
Is that your consolation? You know that you're letting the ball get deep.
Well, when they hit the back foot, yeah.
Yeah. Glass half full.
Polanco's like, I need a minute. A little leather and a little material over those toes don't help you.
One and 2 on Polanco. I'm talking about this Texas rotation. How about the year Colby Lewis is having? Wasn't nearly as good as last time out, but prior to that had gone 7+ in 5 consecutive outings. Dropped a lot of weight during the offseason. The cycling regimen. Martin Perez has been good. A.J. Griffin was great before going down on the disabled list. Derek Holland is the only starting pitcher that's been below league average. Pulls that one into short right. That's a base hit for Polanco.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think when you look at this rotation, Colby Lewis is giving you quality every time he steps out there. It goes back to last year. I just think that overall they need to get Derek Holland going. They get him going. I think they have a better shot at doing some special things in the second half. But it's not that easy. I think Derek Holland, stuff-wise, is there. But I think it's just missing spots. Too much of the plate and not being able to go deep into the games.
We've seen some encouraging signs from him lately. Back-to-back quality starts. Gonna get some significant rest in between starts this time. 7 days rest before he goes again against Cleveland on Tuesday.
Well, I think that always helps. Even talking to Jeff Bannister, just giving the guys a time, a little blow, especially as it starts to get hot, definitely helps everybody. But for me, bottom line is Darvish is the key. As we see. I mean, you couldn't tell he has a whatever ERA he has over 5, but you have to be that way, though. I swear you can't be uptight. You have to be free and have to be one of those guys that know that it's going to come around at some point, and when it does come around, it's going to be fun out here in Arlington.
Tony Barnett replacing Darvish. Gave up the 1-out single to Polanco, who runs, and David Freese puts it in play to short. Andrews has no play. Had a funny bounce on him. And the Pirates have 2 on with 1 out and bring the tying run to the plate in the 6th.
It's that in-between hop. Joe, you see him on the last one. He sort of indecisive, went sideways first before he came in on the ball, not knowing which angle to take it off the bat. You see it again. You see him take that step back first and sort of caught him in between. But normally sure-handed Andrews, tough one.
And it's his second error tonight. The other one was the ear-mailed throw after catching the line drive in the first inning. He had 4 coming in all season, and he's got 2 tonight. So now Marte comes up representing the tying run for the Pirates in the 6th inning. Hit his first home run in a month last night. Doug Brocail out to talk with Barnett. about this matchup with Marte. Play ball is MLB's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To learn more, go to playball.org. This Rangers bullpen, as good as the starting rotation has been, this Rangers bullpen is the worst in the American League with an ERA above 5.
Well, it's getting better. I think the one thing is, trying to find the guys to slot them in so they know they have their roles, whether it be Matt Bush and Sean Tolleson is out right now. But I think the big thing is just, finding roles for these guys so they can sort of get out there and get this thing turned around.
Yeah, they had really started to settle things down, and Cesar Ramos getting loose. The last 2 games, though, 6 runs allowed and 8 1/3 after they had shown so much improvement over the last week or so. Marte looks at ball 1. You mentioned Matt Bush's name. His emergence, plugging him into some high leverage situations, has been huge.
Huge. Not only him, Diekman. They have big arms down there. Dyson able to just slide into the closer role has been huge for him. You need these guys to sort of just go out there and be, who they are, and whether that be Dyson or Bush, whatever role Bannister has for them, to be accepted to it and go out there and just do their job.
It was the bullpen that was a strength for this club late last season when they acquired Diekman and Dyson both. And most figured it would be a strength this year, but that's not been the case. Ball and a strike on Marte with 1 gone in the 6th. And here comes Barnett on the ground to 3rd. Beltre's got it. They get 1 at 2nd, and that's all. So Marte aboard on the fielder's choice, and they're at the corners with 2 away for Cervelli.
That was a tough one, turn 2 on, especially with Marte going up the line. Sure hands over there. If Beltre not turning a double play, then probably most guys in the league are not turning it.
So Barnett, part of this bullpen, it's trying to find its way. 11 losses. They've blown 7 saves. Home runs allowed most in the majors. The only bullpen that has a worse ERA in the majors is historically bad, the Cincinnati Reds bullpen. We're talking, you got to go back decades to find a bullpen that's been as bad as the Reds.
Wow.
Strike 1 on Cervelli.
And I was in spring training in Arizona, Joe, for about a month and a half, and got a chance to spend some time up in Surprise, with the Rangers, and I was the one. And whether it's it was just a good opinion when you saw the bullpen, you saw the arms that they were featuring, throwing, because they actually opened it up to everybody to see. I was like, wow, I picked it as probably the best bullpen out there.
Cervelli scored the only Pirates run of the game and a base hit from Figueroa back in the 5th. Here he bats representing the tying run, 2 gone in the 6th inning. Oh-2. Runner takes off and no throw. Marte into scoring position. Here with 2 away.
Good base run by Marte. Get himself in scoring position. Not a big lead, but a good jump. He's in there without a throw.
Polanco's at 3rd, Marte's at 2nd, and a 1-2 to Francisco Cervelli. Bounces in there, and the count evens at 2-2. Cervelli, after a really hot start to this season, 321 in April, has hit below 200 in May. Here he is with an opportunity to bring the Pirates back to within 1 with a base hit. If you're thinking of him tying the game, well, it would be his first home run of the year. Five innings for you, Darvish, in front of a packed house tonight. Tickets started going in a hurry when they made the announcement that Darvish would start tonight. There were some worries that he might be pushed back a day if last night's game had gotten rained out. The forecast was not good, but cleaned up last night. Cole Hamels made the start in a 9-1 Pirates win, and Darvish, as planned, pitched in front of this sellout crowd tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been happy.
Me either.
You know, I was looking forward to him getting out there.
I don't think our bosses would have been too happy either. Push back. Another 2-2 to Cervelli. And another foul ball, so he's making Barnett work in a tough spot here in the 6th. Jeff Bannister hoping to get his first win against his former team. The last time Jeff Bannister saw Yu Darvish pitch in a major league regular season game was as the Pirates bench coach in a 1-0 Yu Darvish loss to Garrett Cole.
I think he's happy he's on his side now.
Yeah. 7th pitch of the at-bat to Cervelli out of the right hand of Tony Barnett. Rides inside and the count goes full. That win, by the way, for Garrett Cole over Yu Darvish a few years ago was their 82nd of the season, and it guaranteed their first winning record in 20 years.
Well, say window of opportunity in this game.
Yeah.
You take advantage of it when you got good players.
And Garrett Cole's gotten better and better as his career's gone on. 2nd and 3rd, 2 gone, and a 3-2 to Francisco Cervelli. Got him swinging with a sharp breaking ball. Barnett's able to wiggle out of the jam, and the Pirates ran runners at 2nd and 3rd. tonight. They leave runners at second and third in the top of this inning and still trail 4-1. Joe Davis and Cliff Floyd back in Arlington. Mitch Morland back to the plate, 1 for 2 tonight. Solo home run his last time up to bring the score to where it is now. Strike 1 from A.J. Schugel, who replaced Juan Nicasio last inning.
You talk about the slide that Morland was on, 1 for 27 before that homer. Joe, he had a great at bat. Take a look at it back in the 4th inning. 9-pitch at bat, and got an off-season pitch down in the zone and was able to destroy it. And that can get you going right there, you know, in a hurry. One thing at this level is pitchers never let up on you. They know when you're struggling. They know, you know, it's a hole there, and they just keep exploiting as much as they can.
Schugel tried to get him to go upstairs, wouldn't. 1-2.
You see Cervelli with the glove up. Mitch has been swinging at that fastball up tonight.
Over shift on the left-handed hitter Morland, who leads off this 6th inning with a bouncer back to Schugel for out number 1. A.J. Schugel, 26 years old, out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. It's originally a 25th round pick of the Angels back in 2010. Made his major league debut with the Diamondbacks last year. Out of the bullpen, and now in his first season in a Pirates uniform, but he has been all over the place during his career. Drafted first by the Padres out of high school, didn't sign, and did sign when the Angels drafted him. Andrews fouls off the first one, strike 1. He was traded in 2013 as a player to be named later from the Mark Trumbo deal. Several pieces were exchanged between the White Sox and the D-backs and the Angels. And the Mariners claimed him off waivers before he even suited up in a Seattle uniform. He was signed by the Pirates off waivers.
He's found his niche somewhere, right? I mean, you look at the stuff, it's not overpowering, but he makes the ball move and dance, and you have to be locations. Look at 93 on the black. That's where he has to live, and it's crucial for him to sort of be able to. And you see the changeup sitting at 82. So you come out of bullpen, you have to be this guy. You don't have to be a big thrower. You just got to be able to pitch. Get caught up in these big arms all the time, throwing 97, 98. That gets hit too. You throw it down the middle, you'll get crushed.
Would you rather hit 97 not with much movement, or 90 with some nasty tail to it?
I'm 97 with no move out.
Yeah.
That's all day. That right there, you can have it. 82 falling off the table. I'm not interested.
Schugel's 1-2, and Andrews checks his swing. 2-2. Andrews pulls one to deep left field. Marte backpedaling to make the play. Take a look at the Gatorade Frost Cool Under Pressure moment. First career hit for Jared Hoyne his last time up, and they were quick to grab that baseball and put a sticker on it to authenticate it. He'll put that in a special place, or he'll lose it like Cliff.
See the smile on his face, right?
Uh-huh.
John J. Sosa Yeah, bub. Congratulations. Don't do it again.
Popped up. At least here he won't do it again. Jordy Mercer's got it. And the inning is over. On to the late innings in Texas. It's 4-1. Is the #1 live streaming sports service, delivering everything you've come to expect and more. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.tv for details. Did you hear what Chase Utley did up in New York after they threw behind him?
I did not.
2-run homer and a grand slam. Dodgers lead the Mets 6-0. Here's Jake Diekman.
Police escort out of Citi Field.
Yeah, right. Diekman's been really good. ERA around 2. And delivers ball 1 to Matt Joyce. That's legendary stuff.
That is. I mean, that is exactly what you want to do in that type of situation. Is just say, you know what, you don't want to hit me, because if Thor would have hit him, he probably would have knocked him out the game.
Right.
So I'll just make you pay this way.
Two and 1 on Joyce. And last night, Dodgers were down 3 runs in the 9th inning, and Utley cleared them with a double. How satisfying has this trip had to be for him? Joyce on the ground is second. Jurickson, Profar, 1 out. Do you have any moments in your career where you got thrown at or challenged in some way and responded similarly?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I go back to the days of Roy Oswald, and he hit me a couple times in his Houston days, and you know, I had to have some choice words with him, and Brad Ausmus was catching, and you know, look, I mean, it gets to that point. Yeah, we between the lines, but I gotta let you know, you're not gonna just keep wearing me out, bro. Sorry. So, you know, we got to Houston, and you know, I first at bat struck out, hit a ball small. And then the next at bat, I hit one. Now, I didn't know I actually got it, so I had to run out the box. But
that's
you know,
a bummer. You want to be able to.
At least he know the message was sent. Like, all right, because now you got me going, right? You get me going. You get the adrenaline flowing in the first at bat and all these things, and you know, I mean, it's all part of the game. I wish it wouldn't be that point, get to that point, but sometimes it does.
Jordy Mercer on 1-1. Chops it to the left side. Diving play, Adrian Beltre. What a play.
Wait a minute, Adrian. How old is he?
37.
With the cat over there at third base. Adrian still got it. Comes up and throws a BB across the diamond.
And I had to. Mercer runs well.
Yeah. Makes it look easy, don't it? See the feet moving. See the concentration. That's the key. The concentration, knowing exactly that last hop. Then to get up and throw a strike across the diamonds. That's second. We forget that must happen.
4-time Gold Glover. Sean Rodriguez hitting for Cole Figueroa.
That's it. 4 times. That's it.
Yeah, seems like he's only been an All-Star 4 times in 18 years.
Slow bat. I'm scratching my head on that one.
Well. So Cole Figueroa, who walks and has an RBI single and a barehand play at second. Rewarded by getting pulled out of the game in the 7th.
We all have our favorite bats, Joe, but if we can get a good shot of Sean Rodriguez's bat, look at that thing. It's worn out right on the sweet spot. So you see him having a good year. But boy, you talk about wearing the bat out in the right spot. Look at that thing.
Boy, how tragic would it be if somebody got it in the handle?
If it's a knock, you okay?
Yeah.
I don't care when I have my pearl in my hand, and I get a knock with it. But if you break my bat and it goes back to the pitcher, that's when I'm upset.
Yeah. Die a hero. Rodriguez helping give the Pirates a really impressive bench.
Yeah, what we talked about earlier, you talk about Rodriguez, you talk about Matt Joyce, now Freeze over there with Gong back. I mean, Clint Hurdle has the luxury of going and getting Sean Rodriguez even in American League Park. See the point of contact on that swing right on the sweet spot. I mean, he's having that type of year.
Entered the year a .228 hitter in his career. Yeah, hitting around 300 this year. Hits one into right center. On comes Mazzara, makes the play to finish the inning. It is stretch time in Texas, and it's 4-1. This is sponsored by Cricket Wireless, something to smile about. And by Lowe's, hurry in for Memorial Day savings. Back here in Texas, sun has set. And this June, the greatest golfers in the world converge on the historic Oakmont Country Club for the 116th U.S. Open Championship. Live coverage begins Thursday, June 16th on FS1, and it continues through the final round on Sunday the 19th on Fox. Now the Rangers got 3 in the first inning tonight on a 2-run homer from Adrian Beltre. And added a run later on a home run by Mitch Morland. Pirates getting their lone run in the 5th inning as Jared Hughes checks in. Of course, tonight was all about Yu Darvish's return. He went 5 innings, gave up just 1 run. It was pretty darn impressive. Did not disappoint the sellout crowd.
Well, 58th career game with 7+ strikeouts. I mean, we was talking about pitch to contact, and you know, more for me, it was just go out there and do that, right? Not even worry about all the other stuff. Just be you, and he was actually even better probably than what they anticipated.
Jared Hughes' numbers are not as good as they were last year when he was part of one of the very best bullpens in baseball. 372 earned run average right now. Well, last year heard all about the Royals and their bullpen, and for really good reason. We saw it help carry the Royals to a World Series title, but you know, this bullpen was #1 as far as earned run average in the majors last year, with Watson and Melanson at the back end. Hughes a big part of that as well. Trying to keep it a 4-1 game as he misses inside to the 9-hitter Bobby Wilson. Well, Hughes sure has an intense look.
That's different. I haven't seen that type of look, but whatever floats the boat.
You ever give a look back to a guy who's given you one like that?
I try not to look at him, I swear. I'm trying to think of the guy. He came out of the Dodgers bullpen back in the day. He used to give an intense look. And I used to not look at it, just you know what, let me look away. I just see Bobby Wilson go out on strikes. You get caught up in the facial expressions and all this stuff, and you know, and then they throw 90.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, come on.
Jurickson Profar is 1 for 3. That one's inside the bag. Down into the right field corner, and Profar has an extra base hit. Trying to turn a double into a triple, and he does.
We like to see that from young guys, especially Profar in that situation. Great to hit on the first pitch. Gets a little sinker that stays up and hits it down line. But this is great base running by him because he's pulling up the second base. But you never anticipate. You see a little bobble out there by Polanco, and you rely on your third base coach to get you over to third. But you have to be looking. You see the heads up in the right position, allows him to take the extra base.
So good for Profar. A triple here with 1 gone in the 7th, and up comes Ian Desmond with the infield pulled in. Rangers already in front 4-1. Take all the insurance they can get in a year where the bullpen has been as rocky as it has for them. Desmond 1 for 3, doubled and scored in that 3-run first inning. First triple of Profar's career. It'll be interesting to see what the Rangers do with Profar when Odor comes back from his suspension. He has 5 more games to serve after tonight, so ready to come back near the end of next week.
My opinion is he goes back down. Yeah.
Base hit to left for Ian Desmond to bring home Profar, and it's 5-1 Texas.
He throws the sinker and Hughes, and you're trying to get it up in the air, but you know you can't. You know the infield's drawing in, but just a finder. You got it through the hole. What you got to do when you're hitting over 300 runners scoring position, you get those CNI knocks.
Prince fielder against Hughes. Desmond takes off. No chance for Cervelli. Stolen base for Ian Desmond.
Look at the replay right here. So Hughes jumped by Desmond almost to the point where he thought he wouldn't get a throw. Anticipated Cervelli not throwing, almost got caught in between right there.
So Desmond successful on 10 of his 11 steal attempts this year. An RBI opportunity for Fielder, who is a toe tapper.
Yeah.
You were too. Anything you see with his tap right now that might be contributing to this season where he's below 200?
Well, I think sometimes he gets caught in between. He has to get it going a little bit earlier. I think that's the one thing you see right there. You know, it's almost like he picks it up a little bit too late. And for me, I always said, and one of my hitting coaches back then always said that it's sort of like a perfectionist type of approach. Like you have to be perfect and you have to put a lot of work into it. Sometimes he goes away from it, you see it, and sometimes he'll spread out and just hit. You know, but I think he has to be a little bit more aggressive.
Rolled to second. Sean Rodriguez for out number 2.
Just a little bit. You see a nice little angle from the side view. See the tap is a little. He needs to stay back there a little bit, Mojo, for me, and be aggressive. That's not the swing of we've seen in the past from Fielder. I think when we see him swing aggressively, you know, he's falling over, but the ball is, you know, it's off the bat and it's on line. We saw it earlier with the double to center field, but you know, tendencies is what you're looking for. Can he compete? Can he repeat that?
Strike one to Adrian Beltre. And when Prince Fielder is locked in, that swing is violent.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Violent.
Beltre 1 for 2 with that 2-run homer. Ooh. What a stop by Cervelli to keep Desmond anchored to third.
Good hands. See him drop down the left knee and get over there. He actually didn't think he got it. Unless that was a deke move.
Yeah,
could have been a deke move.
Hughes brings Beltre a 1-1, and he swings, and it's a pop fly to left field. Out goes Mercer to retire the side. And we go to the 8th inning. Texas in front of Pittsburgh 5-1. Some of the world's biggest soccer stars converge in the United States for the 100th anniversary of the Copa America. And it all begins when the U.S. takes on Colombia, 8 Eastern on Friday on FS1. Matt Bush comes into the game for the Rangers. He has been a godsend for this bullpen, locking down some of the high leverage situations late in games. 7 outings and a 1.17 ERA for an incredible story. Former first overall draft pick of the Padres as a shortstop way back in 2004, but has been in trouble with the law, has battled substance abuse throughout his career, and in fact just recently finished serving a 34-month prison sentence as Jaso flips one into left for a base hit. Last fall came out of prison for that prison sentence for nearly killing a man in a drunk driving incident. But out of the prison in the final day of the World Series. Was signed by the Rangers. Some injuries opened the door to him making his major league debut here 12 years after he was drafted #1 by the Padres.
This has a movie written all over it at some point. But, you know, forget baseball, just a second chance at life. I think that's more important, and then getting a second chance to do something you love is just icing on the cake. So hopefully he takes full advantage of it. You know, from listening to Jeff Bannister, his manager, he's definitely taking full advantage of it, and having conversations with him on a daily is also just helpful in terms of staying clear, staying easy, and pretty much, you know, staying out of trouble. I think that's first and foremost what has to happen. But I think he knows that now, and hopefully he's on the right track forever.
There's 1-1 to Andrew McCutchen. Is hit to left, a base hit. Back-to-back singles against Bush to lead off this 8th inning for the Pirates. So Pittsburgh trying to climb back in it against Bush. He was converted to pitcher 3 years after he was drafted. Struggled hitting as a shortstop. So in 07, they put him on the mound. He had to overcome Tommy John surgery 1 year later. He was traded to Toronto after a run-in with the law, and got through one spring training with the Blue Jays. Another off-field incident led to the Blue Jays releasing him. Spent all of 2009 out of baseball before the Rays signed him for the 2010 season, and was really starting to pick up some steam with Tampa Bay, bearing down on their major league roster before that incident during spring training a few years ago. Final few months that he was in prison, he was placed on work leave from prison. He got to go out and he had a job with work release at Golden Corral. And a Rangers assistant, a guy named Roy Silver, who folks might have heard of as the guy that helped Josh Hamilton through his substance abuse in the early portions of his career. Roy Silver connected again with Bush and went and visited him at Golden Corral. They started to first talk about a position perhaps within the organization off the field. In fact, you know, it had been 3 years since he'd thrown, since he'd pitched in a professional game. So the chances of him coming back and being effective, they didn't think were realistic. But Roy Silver put on the catcher's gear, went out in the parking lot of the Golden Corral during his breaks, and Matt showed him what he still had. That led him to signing him instead of hiring him in some other role.
Could you imagine walking up to that Golden Corral and wondering what the heck is going on over there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Finds himself in some trouble in the 8th with a 1-2 coming to Gregory Polanco.
I mean, so much goes in just the thought of, you know, just keeping himself in good shape and good condition. You know, not knowing what, you know, leisures he had while he was in prison.
Jaso at second, McCutchen at first, 2-2. And he strikes him out with a fastball at 96. 1 away.
Well, Matt Bush throws him a couple curveballs or sliders. John then came back with the cheese. 96. A little movement. It's Polanco on the swing. He's still booing David. Still. 4 at-bats later.
Yeah, 5 years later.
Get over it.
I'm not sure they ever will.
What?
That was a pretty tough way to lose. And he was such a responsible party. They're 1 out away from winning their first World Series title in Game 6 up in St. Louis. We don't need to rehash the whole thing, do we?
No.
We might, though.
If Naftali gets in, then what happens?
Yeah, right. Floated to right. Nomar Mazara is there. Runners will hold. And 2 away. Our producer's name is Jeff Gowan, by the way, Rangers fans. If you'd like to point your frustration somewhere as we make you relive 2011, David Freese with the opposite field triple to tie the game with the Cardinals down to their final out. And then the home run to force Game 7, which the Cardinals would win. And he was named the World Series MVP. It was one of the great postseason performances, not just in that game, but period, in Major League history. Set a record with 21 RBIs during that postseason run.
Yeah, he was unconscious in that series. But I think for me, you know, if anything, they should probably boo Nelson Cruz as well.
Yeah.
Right? He should have caught that ball. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a story about that. Marte fouls it off. Have you heard
Another
this story? I'm sure there are a bunch of stories that have developed. The most recent one that I heard, and I won't throw the guy under the bus that I heard it from, but that the reason Nelson Cruz was positioned where he was in a spot for that ball to get over his head is because he wanted to get to the celebration on the infield as fast as he could.
You should never tell that story again.
I'm saying I heard it. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any truth to it.
Wow. Well. Whew.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you can't even
seems
respond
like one
to
that would be easy to make up and have it get legs.
Right.
Marte cues it foul, and it's 1-2.
I mean, you do get excited, right? I've been there before where you do, you know, you get a little excited and you never where I'm going to play out of position. No, I'm going to say.
You're going to say
that's false.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think Rangers fans probably do too.
Yeah. For the sake of him coming here so much time. Well, that was one of them.
Marte down swinging. Bush got into a bit of a jam with back-to-back singles to start the inning. Winds up sitting him down in order afterwards. Telecast is sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the Data Strong network. And by Central Intelligence in theaters everywhere. June 17th, rated PG-13. Omar Mazar, Mitch Morland, Elvis Andrews coming up. Oh, that movie?
Well, Kevin Hart.
Oh, me too. I saw him live.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious.
Rangers with a 3 spot in the first, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 7th. Lone Pittsburgh run came in the 5th. Tony Watson back from paternity leave today. His wife Cassie giving birth to his son. They named him Theodore.
Like that name.
Got
a couple of Theodores in my family.
Do you?
Yeah.
They go by Theodore, or do they go by Teddy?
Teddy and Thee. You know.
Another good year for him. He was part of the best bullpen in baseball last year. And he and Melanson at the back end, and even Hughes, who we saw last inning, has been better lately, but especially Watson and Melanson have again been really good at the back end of the bullpen. It's been the other pieces that have struggled. It's a line out to center and the first out of the 8th inning.
Well, it's always key to have those type of guys down there to rely on, and can get you through the tough times, because I mean those precious outs are hard to come by these days, and consistency is far in between.
Mitch Morland is 1 for 3 with a home run. His 5th of the season came in the 4th. Corks a high fly to short right. Sean Rodriguez. Round number 2. You can follow live baseball with the MLB.com app, Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com app, Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Tonight was about that guy, Darvish. 5 innings for him, and in position to get the win in his return to a major league mound. His first outing since August of 2014, back from Tommy John surgery. And it'll be interesting to see the way the Rangers manage his innings moving forward, because you'd hate to see them run into a situation either like Steven Strasburg a few years ago, where they had to shut him down during a playoff run in September. Strasburg didn't pitch in the postseason. Nationals were eliminated quickly. Or the other side of that, Matt Harvey, where he did pitch in the postseason and did go way past his stated limit, and has followed that with a miserable season.
Yeah, well, I think they'll have something in place to allow them to make sure they do this right, and every team has their thing, and it's about protecting players and getting longevity, right? That's this day and age of pitching, and for him it looked like today was just a walk in the park. And I think when you look at the pitch count, it'll increase if he keeps pitching like this, but talking to Jeff Bannister, just sort of making sure that they watch him closely and make sure that he's true, because he has to be truthful as well. He got to go in and speak the truth, and if you're feeling any type of thing or something that's stopping you from being you out there on the mound, you have to speak up.
The built-in advantage the Rangers have is that he missed the first month and a half of the season. So when you're looking at the total innings number over the course of a full year, his, just by virtue of not starting his season until now, is not going to have a chance to be as high as it might have.
Well, the luxury also is it's almost like getting a July 31st deadline acquisition, right, and not giving up something for him. So the bonus is they've been pitching great. The bullpen has not, but I think overall the starting pitching has put them in a position they in to be in second place in the tough division.
If he were to go the rest of the year and not miss a start, it'd be 20 to 22 starts that he'd make. David Freese, a nice play to get Andrews and finish this 8th inning. It is on to the 9th. They'll try and shut it down and get Darvish the W. Bannister still calls on Sam Dyson, who is his closer at this point. Replace Sean Tollison in the role. And it's been really good this year. But these spots can be tough, these non-save situations for closers.
Yes, they can. And you see it all around baseball. You know, guys come in, not the same adrenaline rush.
The thing Dyson has going for him is that most of his career has been spent as a 7th or 8th inning guy, but 7th or 8th inning guy in high leverage situations. Ball 1 to Francisco Cervelli. He gets 6, 7, and 8 in the Pirates order. Trying to even this series at a game apiece. Snap the Pirates' 5-game winning streak. Rangers enter the day a game and a half back of the Mariners in the American League West. Well, the Mariners finally being the team that for a few years I think we've all been waiting for them to be.
Well, you're getting production, right, from the middle of the lineup, and starting pitching is giving you some quality. So, and the bullpen has been good.
Twins got 2 in the first inning in the Mariners. 2-0 in Seattle right now.
You need more than that.
Twins are 13 and 34.
I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. I thought they had a better team out of spring
I thought
training.
they had a good team.
Yeah. You know, I mean, after what we saw last year, put the ball in play, but you lose some pieces.
Cervelli takes strike 3, 1 gone. Fiery guy.
Let's see if he got a gripe. We'll say a little bit. Oh yeah, that ball's up. Good angle right there.
Normally a catcher doesn't argue too hard, but he knows he probably doesn't have to go back out there and catch today. So,
and that's, he knows that hasn't been a strike all day as well.
At Joyce, strike 1. Pirates, of course, are chasing the Cubs. Started the day 4.5 back. Cubs beat the Phillies 4-1. Kyle Hendricks, complete game. Joyce cranks a ball into right center. Long run. Desmond won't get there. And it rolls all the way to the wall. Joyce will have a triple.
This ball was absolutely scorched. See him keep those hands in. See Desmond out there, goes for it, but he shaded him over to left center with Dyson on the mound throwing 96, 97 and just out the reach of that glove of his. Colorful glove he got on.
It's nice. Well, Jordy Mercer with a man at 3rd and 1 gone. Pirates need a bunch here in the 9th inning to avoid falling 5.5 back of the Cubs. You see any chance that the Pirates catch the Cubs this year?
I'm not gonna count them out. I think the Cubs, you know, they have their question marks. You know, I think from a lineup standpoint, yeah, it's deep, but no Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, you had Jorge Soler, but you know, overall the Pirates are doing enough to stay, you know, in, of course, in contention, but also got a chance to catch them if they slip.
Mercer gets himself an RBI and a bounce out, but the Rangers are an out away from even in this series at a game apiece. And of course, the Pirates would prefer to avoid that wild card game, which they've been in 3 consecutive years.
Yeah, uncle on that one.
Losing each of the last 2 seasons in the wild card game. Ran into Jake Arrieta last year.
He made him sweat. I mean, Jake, you saw him after the game. It looked like, you know, it was raining in Pittsburgh. He was tired.
It's Madison Bumgarner the year before. That's the thing. That wild card game, that one-off.
You're getting a stud.
Yeah. Still though 3 straight playoff trips, no matter the result for the Pirates after 20 consecutive losing seasons. 0-2 on Sean Rodriguez.
And that's absolutely filth. 97 with tilt. Good luck.
Bounce to third, it's Beltre, and the Rangers make Yu Darvish a winner in his return to the major leagues. 5 innings for Darvish and a 5-2 win for the Rangers. For Cliff Floyd and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying goodbye from Arlington, Texas. We'll send you to our LA studios for more post-game coverage right after these messages, after this 5-2 Texas win.